Hey, how's it going? It's Michael Fiore, and this question is actually a little tough, and I'm going to have to be a little brutal here. A woman on my Facebook wall, she sent me a private message. So I'm not going to show you her name. I'm just going to show you the actual question on the screen here. Wrote me in a question that said, Michael, how long do you wait for him to marry you? I waited for 7 years twice and will never ever wait anywhere close to this. I terminated both relationships. They were a waste of my time, but hard to understand why someone stays this long without wanting to stay forever. If it's that bad, why did they keep it going for 7 years? So Jay, her first name starts with J. I think that's enough to give away. There's a couple big things I actually want to talk about here that are in your question that I find really, really interesting. One is the idea that marriage is the be-all, end-all of relationships. And personally, I don't believe that. I'm not against marriage. I was a minister. I actually was the minister at my best friend's wedding several years ago. It was really fun. I've done other things like that. I most likely will get married in the not so distant future to my girlfriend. That said, marriage, at least for men most of the time, isn't really the goal. It's not like guys wake up every single day saying, hey, golly, I really want to get married. Men don't dream about their wedding day, typically. Maybe when they're really getting to the point where they're going to start thinking about, hey, will you marry me? And looking into that woman's eyes and saying that, it comes up. But men are not addicted to commitment in the same way that women are. Men are not addicted to marriage the same way that a lot of women are. Men don't feel the same sense of like, I desperately need to get married. Maybe if they want to have kids, things like that. And I'm wondering if you waited for 7 years twice, the question I have for you is, did you ever really talk to him about, did he want to get married? Either one of these guys. Was that the conversation that came up early on? Were you making it known from the beginning that marriage and kids and all those other kinds of things were something that you wanted? I know with my own girlfriend, we started dating, and I've always been someone that could actually kind of go either way on the marriage and kids thing. It's not one of those things that I personally think I need to get married and have children to live a fulfilling life. But when I met her and when we fell in love and when I discovered what an amazing woman she was, she made it pretty apparent from the beginning that kids, particularly, and marriage, secondarily, was something she wanted. And as we fell in love and spent some time together, it's been over 3 years now, I came to the feeling of saying, hey, you know what, Mike? You want to be with this amazing woman, that's something you're going to want to have. So we're going to have to start thinking about that. And I'm wondering if maybe in these 2 7-year relationships, that's 14 years of your life, and from your picture, you're not that old, did you really ever make it apparent that that was a deal breaker for you? That the idea of marriage being something you were moving towards was really important to you? Because you can't assume these things. Really, you can't assume anything in a relationship. You shouldn't assume that you're dating somebody unless, seriously, monogamously dating somebody, unless you've had that conversation and said, hey, just so we are both on the same page, are we a couple right now? And that seems like such a basic thing, but a lot of people don't actually go there and say officially what's going on. Are you dating other people? Are we moving towards somebody? Do you want to have kids? Do you want to get married someday, or are you at least open to the idea of getting married someday? So I wonder about that. I wonder if maybe the bitterness that you felt in those 7-year relationships partly at least came from a lack of communication and a lack of understanding. The second thing you say is that they were a waste of your time, that both of these relationships were a waste of your time. And I understand that feeling if your goal was, I want to get married, have kids, blah, 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 the lifelong love affair thing. But I don't think any relationship is really a waste of time. I hear this a lot, particularly from older women. Men almost never think a relationship was a waste of time. It's the wrong way of looking at it. Obsessing about the future is a great way to ruin the now. That doesn't mean you have to give up on the future that you really want, but it does mean that you can't constantly be worried, okay, where is this going to go? Where is this going to go? You have those conversations. But any relationship you're in is a learning experience. It's a loving experience. If there were good days in those relationships, if there actually were any days at all that you woke up and really felt like, yeah, this is good. I feel loved. I feel adored. I feel erotically appreciated. I feel all these kinds of things. Then it wasn't a waste of your time. And the third thing you said is, if it's that bad, why do they keep it going for 7 years? And that's really interesting. I mean, you say it's hard to understand why someone stays this long without wanting to stay forever. And here's where I'm going to kick your puppy a little bit. Forever doesn't ever happen. Never. There's no such thing as a relationship that's going to last forever. Especially these days, we live 80, 90 years, 20 years is a long time, 30 years is a long time, 40 years is a long time. And here's the deal. Any relationship you're in is going to end. Either you're going to break up at some point, or one of you or both of you is going to die. Flat out. Simple. I mean, there's no escaping that. No relationship is actually going to last forever. And obsessing about this forever thing is going to kill any chance you have of actually having a great relationship and having a great life and having a great day-to-day. Like, this is the kind of stuff. Now, that said, your original question is, how long do you wait for him to marry for you? Well, you don't wait, right? You shouldn't expect a man to read your mind about these sort of things. A lot of men, by the way, are totally fine in a status quo in a relationship. Like I said at the beginning of this video a few minutes ago, men don't sit around obsessing about the next step. Some men do think, hey, I really want to have kids. What do I have to do to make that happen? I'm kind of in that phase myself at this point. But he's not sitting around. If his day-to-day life in the relationship is good, he's not going to think, oh golly, how do I change that? He's just going to say, things are good. I'm happy with the way things are. Is she happy? What men want in a relationship generally is a happy girlfriend, a happy wife, whatever it's going to be. If she's happy, he's generally pretty happy. Doesn't want to do that much work for it. So I think, Jay, in a lot of cases, the mistake that you made was never standing up for yourself, was never sitting there and really saying, here's what I want. And if you went 7 years twice with that, it means that you weren't really standing up and saying, here's what I need out of a relationship. Yes, I love you, but I want marriage. I want kids. I want those things. Is that something that you feel like you're going to give me at some point? And if he says no, or he wigwams and says, oh, I don't know, blah, 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 you should have left a lot earlier. I said in another video and a lot of other stuff, never wait for a man, right? If you're feeling like you're waking up every day after year 1, after year 2, whatever it's going to be, and you're like, why aren't things progressing? You need to have that conversation like an adult. Sometimes you just got to talk to people, and then you got to move on. So I hope this was helpful, and I'm sorry if it's not what you wanted to hear. If you want to hear more about this, if you want to get on my Facebook wall, just go to facebook.com. Look for Michael Fiore, F-I-O-R-E. I'll put a link down there. And if you want to ask a question, maybe you'll make it into a future video or my podcast or my newsletter, etc. Thank you.